Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is so nice to have all of you here. So wonderful to be together. So nice to pack the room. So great to have those of you who are joining us online. We are particularly excited that we are kicking off our 6th grade B'nai Mitzvah Family Ed and Shabbaton. So we have many of the members of our 6th grade class here who are preparing for their B'nai Mitzvah over the next year, who are going to get to sort of see how it works and experience our service. And we are particularly excited that they will get to celebrate with the Shaftel and Miller families as we welcome 2 new adults into our Jewish community. We are thrilled that you are here. We want to remind you that if you've brought in with you anything that rings, jingles, or buzzes, now is a great time to turn it off so that you can be present to the joy in the room. And in the spirit of celebrating this Shabbat, we are going to invite up Dominic Miller and Sophia Shaftel, who are becoming B'nai Mitzvah this weekend, and their families to lead us in the lighting of the Shabbat candles, which can be found on page 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we should speak into our hearts and our lives.
Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
You're going to light the candles. Go ahead. Go light the candle first.
One
Come bless with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shal Shabbat. Mazel tov, you can take your book.
Shabbat Shalom. Mazel tov.
Thanks. So we are so grateful to have arrived at Shabbat. And it is also a special night this evening for so many reasons. And one additional reason that we haven't heard about yet is that it is Rosh Chodesh, which is the new month, and it is the new month of Adar. And Adar is the month that is meant for joy. And in this particular year, we actually have an extra Adar. It's a leap month that sort of keeps the Jewish calendar in sync with the holidays, in sync with the seasons. And so we get an extra month of joy. So this is the start of the first Adar. And Adar has Purim in it, but that's in the second Adar, so we have a little ways to go. Thank God, because we're working hard on our Purim spiel. But I thought, why not acknowledge the joy of Adar tonight with this song? So when we get to Adar, we say, Misha nichnas Adar, when Adar enters, marbim besimcha, let our joy increase. So I wrote this song last year. It is time, let us bring so much joy when we sing Misha nichnas Adar. It is time, let us bring so much joy when we sing Misha nichnas Adar. try it with me. It is time, let us bring so much joy when we sing. Misha nichnas, nichnas adar. Walking in the dark and cold, it is time to be bold, time to bring the joy. Walking in the dark and cold, it is time to be bold, time to bring the joy. It is time, let us bring so much joy when we sing Misha nichnas, nichnas adar. It is time, let us bring so much joy when we sing Misha nichnas, nichnas adar. And we continue that feeling of joy as we welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi, which can be found in your books on page 20. Lecha, lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha, lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. La la, lecha, lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha, lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, le'shemo tiferet v'liti la 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habiracha, mirosh mikadem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki va'orech kumiori, uri uri shir dabiri, kevod Adonai halayich nigla. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. And now we rise and we face the entrance as we welcome in Shabbat like a bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha u'v'tzola, toch hamonei yom segula. Boi chala, boi chala, la 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Penei penei Shabbat nikabela. Penei penei Shabbat nikabela.
I am now going to do something very risky, which is that I'm going to encourage a room of 250 or so people to talk to each other and expect you to get quiet again at some point. So it is a moment for us to greet each other, wish each other Shabbat Shalom. When you hear the piano and guitar, that's your cue that we're back on page 28.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. They're never coming back.
No.
Ya la la, hi la
Page 33 at the top of the page. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vahed. We'll invite you to be seated as we invite up Sophia to lead us in the Ve'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר חוצה יציאתם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We pray together at the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together. Michamocha, page 40.
No
Tonight, synagogues all over the country are thinking about reproductive justice. This week's Torah portion contains the law on which most Jewish understandings of abortion are based, and so the National Council of Jewish Women has made this Repro Shabbat. No matter what your position on abortion, I hope we can agree that since Roe v. Wade was overturned, far too many people are living in fear. As we prepare to recite Hashkivenu, our prayer that calls down God's Sukkot Shalom, God's shelter of peace, I am thinking of all the people who I want to include in that protective shelter. I'm thinking of anyone in Texas who needs an abortion for whom the services they require are nearly or effectively out of reach. I'm thinking about the person struggling with an unplanned or unwanted pregnancy who feels alone and scared. I'm thinking of anyone whose pregnancy was very planned and very much wanted, but whose pregnancy has taken a dangerous turn and who now has to travel out of the state to access urgently needed health care. I'm thinking of the healthcare providers who struggle to give their patients accurate information and comprehensive care in an incredibly perilous environment. I am thinking of people facing infertility and the difficult and demanding journey to create the family of their dreams, which is now more complicated than ever. I am thinking of all who feel they cannot tell their stories of their reproductive lives for fear of stigma or shame, who are in need of affirmation and love. Tonight in my Hashkivenu, I will ask God for a Sukkot Shalom, but I'll also ask God for a Sukkot B'tichot, a shelter of safety, so that all can get the health care they need. I'll ask God for a Sukkot Gvura, a shelter of courage for all who fight for a more just, less fearful world. And I'll ask God for a Sukkot Ahava, a shelter of love, so that all know that God loves and affirms the decision they make about their bodies and their families and sees them as holy. May these Sukkot be strong and expansive, big enough to hold all who seek their shelter. Please join us in Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim Hashkivenu
We come now to the Amidah, which begins on page 46. We're going to invite Dominic up to lead us in prayer and invite all of you to rise in body or in spirit.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Behanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezoher Hasdei Avot Ve'imaot, Umevi Gula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umogin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Abraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol Atarav Le'oshia, Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamo Chaba'al Geburot, Umidon Elah, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nei manata lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom, v'hallelu Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. Sixth graders, I hope you are taking notes. By the time we're done with you, all of you are going to be rock stars, like Sophia and Dominic are rock stars. And we are excited for you just at the beginning of your journey, just as we are excited for the two of them to reach this beautiful moment. We continue responsively on page 55. Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency, make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans.
Shock us, Adonai. Deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred.
Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears.
Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality.
Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action.
Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
As we think about our obligation to work towards a world of peace, we continue with Shalom Rav, page 60.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom.
We take a few moments now for silent prayer. If you don't know what to say, make a list of 5 things you're grateful for today. I promise it'll change your life. Page 259. It's been a hard week for those of us who love Israel and those of us who pray for peace and a brighter future. Too much painful news, too many new reported deaths, too many weeping families. Our prayers for Israel are as important now as ever. Our prayers for courage, our prayers for hope, our prayers for peace. Join us in the middle of page 259 as together we pray for light in the darkness. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. We turn our prayerful attention now to a moment of healing, thinking of those in our lives and in our community who are in need of wholeness and strength. We think of those whose pains and illnesses we see and know, and also those whose pains and illnesses and struggles we can never see and never know. Those who struggle with chronic illness and chronic pain, those who struggle with addiction, and those who are in recovery. We send our prayers too to the caregivers who offer so much of themselves in that pursuit of refuah shlema, of wholeness. In our community, we're thinking tonight of Charlotte Berkowitz, Melba Berman, Jennifer Cannon, Eileen Sersansky, James Sersansky, Robert Cohn, Stephanie Cousins, Michael Maxwell Frumovitz, Benjamin Gibson, Elizabeth Ginsburg, Joe Gittleman, Marcine S. Goldman, Chuck Green, Jerry Halfant, Joyce Halfrecht, Terry Hazelwood, Robin Hodgkins, Christina Howard, Simon Kim, Lawrence Levy, Betsy Lewis, Samuel Lewis, Andrew Merrick, Stuart Miller, Dahlia Nattong, Magdalene Pessin, Paul Phillips, Leatrice Rabelais, Neil Reisman, Sidney Rogan, Edward Simmons, Yvonne Zients, Ariella Sharon Bat Yafa Shoshana, Chaya Hedva Bat Chana Mayim, Gelka Nechama Bat Leba Chaya, Shimshon Ben Fagel, Yehoshua Matityahu Ben Yaakov Prevachana, and all who are suffering with afflictions of body, mind, or spirit. We offer these words of healing and hope, which will be on the screen. A few announcements for this Shabbat. It was great to see so many of you last night celebrating the kickoff of our Lador Vador capital expansion project. We are so excited about what the project will mean for the future of our congregation. A mailer will be arriving at your home shortly, sharing details about the project and explaining how you can get involved. Also on Wednesday, February 21st at 9:30 a.m., we hope you'll join us in the conference room for coffee and casual conversation in connection with other Emmanuel congregants and Rabbi Hayon. No RSVP is required. We'll provide the coffee and the nosh. You bring the conversation. On Thursday, February 22nd at 6 p.m., we hope you will join us for a fun night of billiards and brewskis at the synagogue. This event is geared towards the men of Congregation Emanu looking to build camaraderie and community with other members of the congregation. At the event, guests can enjoy several activities, including playing pool, air hockey, or trying their hand at Texas Hold'em or blackjack with dealers. The cost is $5 per member and includes food and drinks. We hope you'll help us spread the word and register online. And finally, on Friday, February 23rd, in addition to our regular Shabbat worship here in the chapel at 6 p.m., we also have the return of our quarterly Warehouse Shabbat experience. It's our adults-only rock-in service. If you like this, but you're like, I think it could be like a little darker and moodier in here, lights-wise, and maybe I could be holding a cocktail, and then you want to come to Warehouse Shabbat. So you join us. That's doors open at 7:30 for dessert and drinks, and the service is at 8 p.m., and it is 21 and older, and it is here at Temple this time in the Oshman multipurpose room. In this week's Torah portion, the narrative of the Torah grinds to a halt. For the past 17 weeks, the Torah has been telling stories from the creation of the world to the Exodus from Egypt and the revelation at Sinai. But now in Parshat Mishpatim, the narrative disappears, and instead we get a long list of laws. The 53 commandments in Parshat Mishpatim cover a wide range of topics, from the observance of festivals to the separation of milk and meat. But the primary theme of Mishpatim is justice, rules for building a fair society. There are laws about returning lost objects and responsibility for dangerous animals. There are laws about how to treat the stranger and the vulnerable. There are laws for judges and courts. There's an old adage that if you see a rule or a law, it's probably because someone has already tried that. Case and point. Maybe. Fingers crossed. There are clearly some stories there. So this might make one wonder, where do the laws of Parshat Mishpatim come from? Why are these rules grouped together? Rabbi Ami Silver points out that many of the laws in Parshat Mishpatim contain textual ties or subtle links to the Joseph narrative. For example, there's a law that says if a person opens a pit, or in Hebrew, a bore, and an ox or a donkey falls in it, the owner of the pit is responsible. And where have we heard about someone or something falling into a pit before? In the Joseph story, where his brothers throw him into a bore. And what is one of Joseph's nicknames? The ox. Later, in the laws for how to treat Hebrew slaves or the punishments for kidnapping, it's easy to see connections to the Joseph narrative. As Rabbi Silver explains, within the Torah's laws, there's a commentary on those earlier stories showing us where things went wrong and how to repair the mistakes of the past. Joseph experienced so much injustice in his life, and it is only by reading his story that we can fully appreciate the ways that Mishpatim goes about building a just society. Storytelling is central to the work of justice. When we hear stories of people affected by injustice, we can better understand the systems that perpetuate those injustices. As neuroscientist Dr. Emily Fallick explains, stories activate different parts of the brain than facts and figures. Stories help people simulate and understand social experiences they've never personally gone through. Stories are a pathway into empathy, and it is through profound acts of empathy that we can envision a more just and loving society. 2 weeks ago, I had the honor to take 9 of our synagogue's teens to the Litakain Social Justice Seminar in Washington, D.C. For the past 4 decades, the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism, our movement's advocacy and justice arm, has run this fantastic program that brings together teens from all over the country. Beginning on Friday, students spend 3 days learning about the American legislative process and our movement's approaches to various social justice issues, including economic justice, reproductive freedom, LGBTQ rights, and climate justice. Then, on Monday morning, these well-informed and newly empowered teens go to Capitol Hill and lobby the offices of their senators and representatives on the issues they care passionately about. Litakain is the best program that our movement runs for anyone of any age. 6th graders in the room, I hope you will sign up when you get the chance in 11th or 12th grade. Our participation in this program is made possible in part through the support of several endowment funds, including the Robert I. Kahn Social Justice Fund, the Florence and Ben Blum Leadership Fund, and the Hoffman Nathan Youth Fund. And it could not happen without Becca Schwartzberg, our youth and young adult engagement coordinator, who works so hard to plan the logistics and make sure our teens have a marvelous experience. You'll get some taste of that if you're going to the 6th grade dinner, because she's in charge there too. A major focus of the Litakain curriculum is storytelling. Students learn that their personal stories have the power to speak directly to the hearts of their elected officials and reshape their approaches to policy. There's a truth in story that is beyond debate or partisanship. It's easy to disagree with me about policy, but it's much harder to disagree with me about my lived experience, to deny my story. Throughout the weekend, students identify and refine the stories that inspire their connection to social justice. When the teens go to lobby their congressional offices, they read speeches they've written that center these stories. The speeches also contain facts and figures on the issues and Jewish texts that inform our movement's positions, but it is most often the stories that leave a lasting mark. Tonight, I have invited 3 of our teams to share the stories they told in the offices of Senator Cornyn and Cruz and Representatives Fletcher and Green. I suspect you will find them as moving as I did. Our temple's teens ended up selecting 3 vital issues to lobby on: anti-Semitism, voting rights, and gun violence. Our anti-Semitism group, made up of Amelia Perry, Eli Freeman, J.J. Silk, and Jonah Miller, spoke about the rising tide of anti-Jewish rhetoric and violence in this country and the impact it is having on our community. Jonah Miller spoke powerfully about our congregation's recent experience with anti-Semitism and was able to connect it both to his own feelings of fear and to broader societal systems that enabled the incident to take place.
About 1 year ago, a woman broke into our synagogue overnight while intoxicated. She caused minor damage around the building, including to a Torah, the most sacred object in our religion. In the morning, she was found and arrested, at which time she revealed that she held anti-Semitic views. After her arrest, she was let out on bail, only to come back to the temple a second time. In both instances, the authorities were slow to respond, likely because they did not fully understand the dangers that anti-Semitism poses to Jewish institutions. Due to this incident, my temple has had to implement many new security measures. And it was not even just our congregation, as the whole Jewish community was negatively impacted by this event. At my Jewish day school, for example, they too have a considerably larger amount of security present on campus. Because of my participation in primarily Jewish communities, the prevention of anti-Semitism has always been important to me. However, prior to this incident, it never connected as a personal issue and was mainly hypothetical. Since then, my outlook towards the topic has completely changed, and I have more of an awareness of anti-Semitic situations. This incident has shown me that Jewish institutions need the resources to be safe and secure, and our broader communities need to understand the nature and danger of anti-Semitism.
Jonah and his group lobbied for the bipartisan Pray Safe Act that would establish a federal clearinghouse through which faith-based organizations and houses of worship such as ours could access information on security best practices and federal grant programs to improve their security measures. Our second group, made up of Noah Friesen and Larkin Boucher, advocated for the protection of voting rights. In this speech, Larkin reflected on her experience volunteering at the polling place that our congregation hosts as part of our EE Vote civic engagement work. Lita Kane has empowered Larkin to reflect on that experience and transform it into advocacy.
I care about voting rights because I've seen that it's harder than it should be to vote. Many people imagine that they can simply show up at a voting center and vote, but sadly, it is not that straightforward. For the past few election cycles, our congregation has served as a polling place, and I had the honor of being asked to be an election clerk. Most of my friends don't even know what that means, but I've gotten to see our democracy up close for 3 separate elections. Our congregation is right across the street from Rice University, and in the November 2022 election, many of the college students who came to our polling place did not know that they had to register to vote before Election Day. Therefore, they showed up to vote and were only able to vote provisionally. It disappointed me to know that their votes might not be counted even though they showed up and made the effort to do their civic duty. As a result of this, I realized that even though voting rights have come a long way, not everyone has equal access to vote.
Larkin and Noah advocated for the Freedom to Vote Act, which would establish national standards for federal elections in order to increase opportunities for eligible Americans to register to vote, expand early in-person and mail-in voting, and end partisan gerrymandering. Ethan Taylor, Leah Hoffman, and Dean Miller made up our final group, which lobbied passionately for an end to the gun violence that plagues America. Dean offered the story where he spoke of his own experience during a school lockdown that painted a powerful picture of this terrifying experience that is, unfortunately, far too common.
Throughout my 3 years at Lamar High School, I've experienced numerous school shooter threats, but this year I experienced my worst one yet. One day in November, I arrived at school slightly late and found myself in the middle of a lockdown on my school's campus after someone called in a threat. While I unknowingly made my usual path up the stairs to my art class, I looked around the building, noticing how empty it was for an early morning. As I got closer to the top of the stairs, I heard an administrator yelling for us to run and find a safe classroom. Before I could even process what they were saying, the sound of footsteps behind me got louder and faster. I never felt more frightened and alone. I felt like I was running down a hallway that seemed like it was just getting longer and longer. When I finally made my way into a classroom, it was crammed into the storage closet. I looked to my teacher for support. All he could tell me was that he never got notification of a drill being scheduled, which made me feel even more terrified. We hid in that storage closet for over 2 hours. When we finally emerged, the administrators told us to head to class just like everything was normal. I hate that this is our normal. That day, I had 2 choices. I could leave the room numb and desensitized and treat this as an acceptable part of being a teenager in America, or I could share what I've gone through and push for change. That's why I'm here.
This group lobbied for the assault weapons ban, which expired in 2004, to be reinstated as a meaningful way to decrease the incidence of mass shootings in our schools and communities. Many of the students who participated in our Litakein trip are here tonight. I'd like to invite them to stand up. Thank you for going on this journey with us. You represented our congregation so courageously. You brought the fullness of your hearts to the sacred work of justice, and you were so generous with your stories. Telling these stories, the ones we heard tonight and all the stories you shared over the course of the weekend, requires vulnerability and bravery, and your congregation is so proud of you. Yasher Koach. You can be seated. We can clap for them. And now you have a new story to tell. The story of that time you went to Congress and spoke your truth. When I asked the students to reflect on their experiences, J.J. Silk wrote, Litakein was the first program I've ever attended that allowed me to be the change I only ever learned about. Ethan Taylor said the politicians in D.C. normally seem so far away and so important that they would never take time for a normal high school kid like me. The Litakein seminar showed you how your voice matters. Leah Hoffman wrote, going to Washington with the RAC and spending time with other teens who share my passions was extremely inspiring. Being able to experience this gave me the push I really needed to continue finding ways to change what's happening in the world. I hope that's true, that this will not be the last time these students lift their voices for the cause of justice. And I hope that when you do, you always start by telling your story. As we have learned from Parshat Mishpatim, your stories have the power to change laws. I know that the stories you shared 2 weeks ago are still echoing in the halls of Congress. In Judaism, whenever we're about to do something holy, we say a blessing. Before we went to our first meeting with Senator Cornyn, we stood in the atrium of the Hart Senate office building and said a blessing because what our students did in Washington, D.C. was holy work. I'd like to end tonight with that blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shenatan lanu histamnut litakein et haolam. Blessed are you, Adonai, for giving us the opportunity to mend the world. May we all be inspired by these young people to share our stories, and may our stories change the world. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with Aleinu L'Shabeach, which can be found at the bottom of page 282, and invite you once again to rise in body or in spirit.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים 7. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, life and death. We take a few moments for silent memory. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Our hearts go out in sympathy to the families of Marge Sampson, Danny Carson, and Warren Krams, who were laid to rest in recent days. We also recall the art sites, the anniversaries of the death of Bert Agronowitz, Clement Alfred, Clara Asher, Dorothy Axelroth, Catherine Bauer, Sarah Bettish, Eleanor E. Blum, Joseph Borden, Irvin H. Brackman, Robert L. Brenner, Ray Miller Bromberg, Barbara Strauss-Buck, Jenny Enchen Budish, Philip Burkham, Jake Sersansky, Linda Wolf Cohen, Joseph Cohen, Shirley Cowan, Rosalind Crone, Mark Cypress, Leonard Daly, Irene Dorn, Dr. H.B. Eisenstadt, Gittel Feld, Aaron I. Feldman, Jenny Feldman, Sarah Felt, Belle Fields, Perla Filguera, Rosalie Ann Fink, Rose Finkelstein, Michael Forsmith, Sylvia Will Fradkin, Frida Freeman, Harold Gabe, Isidore Galperin, Faye Gelfond, Luke Glosserman, Samuel Gossayev, Reba Schultz-Goldberg, Bertha Golden, Brent Nathaniel Goodfriend, Merle Mickey Granoff, Harry Green, Mara Greenberg, Marshall Grossbard, Adam Grossman, Estelle Grossman, Sandra Harris, Henriette Dobrinsky Herzog, Carl M. Hess, Henrietta Hochschild, Shirley Hoffman, Francis Hoffman, Marvin Hoodis, Vicky Hoodis, Golda Jacob, Yetta Jacobs, Estelle Jucker, George Kamens, Velia Kaplan, Julius Karp, Milton Kemeny, Dorothy L. Klein, Max Klinger, Kelly Lynn Kogan, Galina Kukis, Jacob Laser, Hannah Lensky, Betty Solomon Leva, Eleanor Levine, Harry Levine, Faith G. Lipkin, Lee Lipman, Elton Lipnick, Shirley Lozer, Walter Lynn Mathis, Michael Meyerson, Ernie Meyerson, Leatrice Joy Rosenmiller, Irving Nadler, Doris Newer, Sarah Knight, Louis Natishin, Erna Pauley, Sonia Toplitz Phillipson, Lanny Ratcliffe, Helen Pasternak Rychek, Harry Aaron Rychek, Leslie Michael Ribnick, Cheryl Roeder, Harold Ruth, Albert Rose, Sylvia Rosenblum, Goldie Raymond Rastner, Irving Ross, Clara Schnur, Frida R. Stoll, Bessie Abramson Schwartz, Joe Siegel, Sandy Siegel, Sarah Elaine Schonhoff, Shirley Ray Silverman, Holly Harwood Skolkin, Sam Spain, Pete Spear, Albert Stein, Leela Tanner, Minnie Tillum, Simon Ute, Stanley Wadler, Ben Weinstein, Helen Weinstein, Maxine Weinstein, Arthur B. Westerman, Molly Markowitz Wilkenfeld, Luba Weiss, Benjamin Michael Wolf, Corinne Wolf, David Wolosky, Louis Zeff, and David Kevin Zimmerman. We turn to page 294 and rise together as one community in body or spirit for the words of Mourner's Kaddish.
Yitzgadal
Ashmei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach irtei ve'al mich malchutei, B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam omei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar v'yithale v'yithalal Shmei dikudsha brichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'ne'emata, ta'amiran be'ama v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
You may be seated as we turn from Kaddish to Kiddush, which can be found on page 5. And we're going to invite Dominic and Sophia and their siblings, Vincent, Isla, and Leah to Shaftel and their cousins for Kiddush and Motzi. This is yours. Come on, cousins. There's a snack at the end of this.
All right, ready? Ready, Sophia? Yep. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav ve'atzavanu v'shabbat kodsho ve'ahava u'ratzon hilchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher le'tziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodeshecha ve'ahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
We can take a sip. And our blessing over challah.
Yeah, ready?
Bless you.
Baruch
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. If you want to share that with your siblings and cousins.
So, quick word about our closing song. While the teens were at Litakane in Washington, D.C., one of the theme songs of the weekend was a song about having a voice and using your voice powerfully. And what we learned when we got back is that it had also been the theme song of the weekend here at Emmanuel because the composer of that song, Alon Arian, was having her artist-in-residence weekend here. And so we wanted to close one more time with that song about using our voice powerfully as all of our young friends make their way back to their families and seats. rise for the closing benediction. God who loves stories, help us to see the power in our own stories. Help us to see the holiness in our stories. Help us to see the holiness in the moments of strength and the moments of brokenness, in the moments of hope and in the moments of healing. Help us listen to the stories of others. Help us respond with kindness and empathy as they entrust us to be guardians of their stories. Help us to use our stories to find our voices so that our voices may be powerful, so that our voices might change the world. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.